How are you today?
Good, Mike. How are you, man?
Doing really well.
Good.
You got a lot of exciting things coming up right now, but of course, the one that brought us to the dance today is this.
Nice.
I would be wearing it, but this is going to a good friend of mine who's a huge fan, and I didn't want to ruin it by like actually wearing it.
There you go, pitting it out before it goes to your boy.
There you go. So you have been such a cheerleader for this property, and it's just been wonderful to see. I was there at New York Comic Con where you jumped on stage and just
Oh, that's funny.
so much fun. But then they dropped a featurette the other day about, and you're just geeking out about all the animatronics and all the lore that's
Oh, yeah.
coming. Tell me more about working with the new and exciting animatronics that Five Nights at Freddy's is bringing to the table.
Yeah, it's funny. I can't say much about the movie in terms of like giving stuff away. I will say that I think the fans are onto us. Like they've seen new stuff. There's new worlds. There's all kinds of animatronics that are coming that are new. But I'm not sure what I'm allowed to talk about in terms of animatronics. There's look, at the end of the day, they built the first movie is a huge success. They're coming back to the second movie. I think that they listened to the fans, right? That there was, people were looking for more jump scares. They're looking for more set pieces, looking for more action, less talking. Everyone loved the lore, sure, but they wanted a little more of the game element, right? They wanted to feel that game. And so I think that Scott and Emma did a great job of adding those elements and then giving you all these new animatronics that I can't spoil, but are pretty dope.
I wouldn't even dream of spoiling anything. But again, as you had said, you see that right in the trailer. Like you see Josh in that control room,
Oh
and
yeah, yeah,
it's just like, oh, okay, we're back to the old familiar here. But you
yeah,
kind of need to find that sort of balance where you welcome new fans into these movies that haven't played the game and
sure.
still please everyone.
Yeah, yeah. And make a good movie. I think that like you can't just pack a movie full of lore and sort of canon, right? You need to make a great movie. And look, I think that like I said, I think that Emma and Scott have done and Universal have done a great job of building a sort of like, we had a prototype that worked, obviously massive success. They're building on that and they're adding to it. The budget got bigger, the story got bigger. There's more animatronics, there's more everything that people want. And I think we're all really excited to see what happens when we're not on Peacock on the same day and see what this film can do. Because I think that fans are going to walk out and be a buzz. And I think that's great.
TikTok proved that I mean, I understand why the decision was made, but TikTok alone proved with those reaction videos that it was like this was insane for people.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's going to be even better. So it's good.
So again, I wouldn't dream of you spoiling anything. I'm certainly not going to spoil anything, and I'm not even sure if you interact with this person in the film, but I would be remiss if I did not mention the fact that Skeet Ulrich came on board for Five Nights at Freddy's 2. Tell me more about what your reaction was when first learning he was on board, and did you two
Yeah.
sort of like chat afterwards to kind of give him the lowdown?
Well, so he was early on. Scott called me and said, "What do you think about Skeet Ulrich for this part?" And I was like, I couldn't think of a dude who represents and holds because one of the there's a story I've told a couple times, but early on, I was signing an autograph for Scott at the end of shooting up, the first film, and he's like, you kind of owe it to my nanny anyways because I was signing something for his nanny. He's got a bunch of kids, and so I was like, why? He's like, well, she's part of the reason why you got this job. And the legend goes that he was going over a list of names to, sort of a casting list for William Afton. And he said my name out loud because he's talking to his wife. And the nanny was sitting there. He's like, oh, yeah, that guy just stayed after a con for 4 hours to sign autographs for fans. And so Scott heard that. And, his commitment to the fans is unparalleled and he hears everything, reads everything. He'll go and see the movie multiple times opening weekend, sit in the audience, see how people react. But dressed up, obviously, and in disguise. But he got then took that information and started to look at my work and started to sort of consider me as William Afton, and that's when they made the offer. And that same energy and sort of commitment to fans and sort of my dedication he's seen over the last couple of years to the fans of Five Nights, like Skeet represents that same thing. He's a great actor, and the part came along that really made sense for our two characters. And if we're lucky enough to do a third film, we'll, end up interacting potentially at some point, which would be fun.
I mean, you did make big teases for that third film, standing right there on stage at the panel for Blumfest.
Oh
And
yeah.
and I just thought of something. You make that mad dash up to the stage, but were you hidden in the crowd before that, or did
No, 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 no. I came out and they had given me a microphone and I came out the side, so I came halfway down. So yeah, so people don't know. I was at we're New York Comic Con. It's a huge hall. I mean, it's a massive hall. It's like
Oh yeah.
1,000 people. It's a massive hall. And we were doing Bumfest and Five Nights was one of the last things and we made a decision. I wasn't supposed to join, but I was there for on season 2 of Cross, and so I was like, "Well, why don't we just slip me in and I'll jump on stage?" And so I did, and it was very fun. I came screaming up the aisles and high five to 10,000 people before I got to the front and did a barrel roll and jumped on the stage. But look, I think that it's sort of emblematic of who I am in the film. I think I bring a bunch of energy and hopefully it works out well. So
Oh
there
yeah,
you
I
go.
mean, that was your con. You're because that's part of your big two phase now, because they had Five Nights too. The Daredevil Born Again footage laid everyone out. And like you said, you're
Oh, I haven't seen it. I didn't see the Born Again footage. I still haven't seen it. They haven't released it yet.
Oh, that's right. Oh, it was really good. And like there's a small peek of you in there, but it was enough. It was enough to get everybody
Hi.
going between you and Kristen.
Oh yeah, Kristen's great. Kristen's great.
So, do more people recognize you for Five Nights at this point than Scream, or would you say it's like an even sort of even odds?
I don't really know. That's not a question for me, really, because I don't know how people recognize me as the old man walking down the street. But, I certainly like at conventions, I have a bunch of Five Nights, I have a bunch of Scream, I have a bunch of Scooby-Doo, I have a bunch of SLC Punk. Like, my thing is that, in my life, I realized that I've certainly achieved some degree of recognizability. That's not really the word, but that I'm relatively recognizable. And for a while there, I was like, I was wondering how people knew me, but the reality is, I just don't care. As long as if I represent a memory, if you remember me from a film, if somehow, some way you became a fan of mine along the way, whether that's, SVU or Spooner or SLC Punk, anything in between, I'm just privileged enough that people give two shits about me in the first place.
Laughing or crying over you in TikTok videos or even Life of Chuck. My wife and I walk out of that movie and your scene stuck in our minds because she looked at me when we were driving home. She's like, I wanted to cry immediately after he was done talking, like just all of that dialogue that he delivered. It's because just seeing you that upset, you're such a font of either joy or sometimes menace, but there
Yeah,
are wonderful layers that you've done in between. And that was just one of the most richly heartfelt things we had seen.
yeah, it's a great look. I love that movie. I think that, Mike Flanagan's brilliant. He's a brilliant filmmaker. And that is like a little gem of a monologue that ends up in this beautiful film. And I'm just lucky to have that. That's one of those things that, great things happen on the day. It doesn't always happen that way, right? Sometimes you get to work and you're not your best, but that was a day that, I don't think I slept a wink the night before. I think I was haggard and exhausted, and when I showed up, I just wanted to get it right. I didn't want to screw up. I didn't know anyone. It was my first time working with Mike. I wanted to be good because I wanted to be invited back into Mike's world. So I put a lot of pressure on me to have a moment, and it ended up working out for the best. I love that film, and I'm happy to be a part of it.
Yeah, and just he's one of those people that really knows how to sort of draw that emotion from not only actors but also any sort of source material, be it horror or otherwise.
Yeah.
He just has this big beating heart.
Yeah, well, I see the bottle behind you over your right shoulder. Um, Macabre Spirits, Rare Final
Ah,
Limited by Mike Flanagan. So yeah,
Episatandi, sir.
yeah. Working with him. So I own a spirits company called Fine Familiar Spirits. Mike and I put together a bottle called Macabre Spirits, and that's the bottle over his shoulder. And it comes with a novella called Rare Fine and Limited, and it's super good. And I just love him as a filmmaker. I just got done. We just wrapped Carrie. We've been working together for the last 6 months up in Vancouver, and I'm on Carrie, and just being in his world is a gift.
Now, I think I have time for one last question,
Sure.
but in honor of Quests and Monk now being available, which that sounds perfect for the holidays.
Yes.
Tasting notes like the black cherry and the chocolate, it's like, I need this around the fire. But
So good.
in honor of that and the fact that, you're going to be promoting a little movie in a couple of months that I might get to wear this for, Scream
Yeah.
with the promo onslaught, which, if I could get your agent on the phone right now, hypothetically, which would you be more excited about? Another Critical Role appearance or getting an SNL hosting gig?
Oh, without a doubt, Critical Role. Without a doubt. The SNL gig, which is, I would be so nervous for so long beforehand. I would hate it until it was over. SNL, like that's like I would just end up so nervous, so anxious, and such an imposter. I also am not a big comedy guy. I know people like, oh, Matthew Lillard's funny. I'm like, sometimes I'm not. But Critical Role, those storytellers sitting around a table playing Dungeons and Dragons is where I'm happiest. So I would be with Critical Role.
You heard it here, fans. Five Nights at Freddy's 2, December 5th. Quests and Monk available now. Matthew Lillard, I am
Yeah.
honored to be speaking to you again. Let's do this again forever. Let's just
My,
never leave.
you're one of my favorite interviews. So thanks, brother.
Oh, I'm pinning that on my wall. Have a good one. Stay safe.
Cheers, man.